Sarah Dowie.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, for allowing me to take this call. Every time I rise, it seems to be you in the chair, so I'm very, very lucky. But thank you very much for allowing me to take this call on the sentencing and protection of children from criminal offending amendment bill. And although I was not present for the select committee process with respect to this bill, I have read the papers, and the implications of it are important, and of course they should be debated. This government supported the bill to the first reading to explore the proposal and the ramifications, but unfortunately it has fallen short. So no one can deny, and we've heard from many members in this House, that the intent of this bill is admirable in that it specifically seeks to make sentencing the consideration if an offence has occurred in front of a child. So meaning that it is viewed that the safety of children is paramount. But look, the devil is in the detail, in that the definition of in the presence of a minor is too broad. And if we look at that, it says that in a place or building where a minor is present or could reasonably be expected to be present, or in close proximity to a place or building where a minor is present or could reasonably be expected to be present. So as I said before, it's extremely broad, and as the member previously alluded to, it would apply to roads and shopping malls and many public places. So the challenge would be to apply it in practice, and it baffles me how this would be done objectively. So from our perspective, it's about striking a balance between being tough on crime but not over-legislating. Section 9 of the Sentencing Act allows judges to use their discretion as to the gravity of an offence, and they are already doing this, and case law suggests that, and it is being done. But if we go back to the general policy statement, it states that criminal offending by adults often exposes minors to serious harm, and an example of that is offending is the production of drugs, particularly methamphetamine. Production of these substances is regularly conducted in residential buildings, putting the lives and health of resident children at risk of poisoning and burns resulting from highly dangerous and unstable chemicals used in such production. Minors are often innocent parties to criminal offending by adults and deserve protection from adult offending that puts them at risk of harm. Well, absolutely. It's commonly reported by researchers and experts that children that witness or are raised in households where offending is prevalent are more likely to offend themselves. And exposing children to the manufacturing of pee, to the toxic substances and solvents used to make it, well, I mean, you don't need to have a PhD to understand the ramifications of that. This bill, however, is about sentencing, and it doesn't actually go toward reducing crime or the effect of it on children. And despite what the member opposite has just said, this government is looking at reducing crime, and it is a fact that crime is at a 35-year low. So, and as the member, Mr Bishop, said, this government is revolutionary in its thinking, and one of the things that I particularly like is that we are breaking down the silos of government and unashamedly enabling agencies such as SIFs, education providers, DHBs, to talk to one another to identify those children at risk. So I also want to talk about one more initiative with respect
it's in the bill, is it?
with respect to assisting children and bringing them out of the jaws of crime, is the Social Workers in Schools program, and that's expanded obviously to decile 1 to 3 three schools, and to put frontline experts face to face with those children at risk to deal with very complex issues. The other thing, and this is not directly involved with sentencing, but it's enabling the police to reduce crime by giving them practical measures. And this Act doesn't go to enabling that to reducing crime. It simply, well, realistically, only goes to one example, which is the manufacture of methamphetamines, and I really don't think that you can legislate for this type of thing and then legislate for every other circumstance that could appear. So you need to allow judges to use their discretion, and my apologies, Mr. Speaker, judges need to use their discretion. We need to allow that to happen.
I always use my discretion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate your discretion, and for that reason, even though the intent of the bill is admirable, this government simply cannot support it. Thank you.
Thank you. We now come to the vote, and that member does actually know that I use my discretion. The question now is that the Sentencing Protection of Children for Criminal Offending Amendment Bill now be read a second time. Those who are of that opinion will say aye. Aye. The contrary opinion will say no. Aye. A party vote is called for. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
60 opposed.
New Zealand Labour. 2 votes opposed. Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
11 in favour.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
New Zealand.
1 opposed.
United Future.
1 opposed.
The ayes are 13, the noes are 108. The bill is not read a second time. Call on members' order of the day number 3.
Register pecuniary